Hello dear viewer watching this incredibly terrible video. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be giving my opinion on the worst popular creepypastas. And I know Hoodohudlumsrevenge made a video similar to this a while ago named the top 10 most overrated creepypastas. But I am just drawing inspiration from that video and his whole channel. So getting that intro out the way, let's start the list. Number 10. Eyeless Jack. Even though it's on the list, I somewhat enjoy this story. Except for the part when the main character, Mitch, sees the monster of the story, Eyeless Jack, and takes a freaking picture of the dang thing. Why would you take a picture? If you saw this thing in the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep, would you run and fight or take a picture? I think the latter would be the lesser obvious choice. Number 9. Laughing Jack. Like I said before, I somewhat enjoyed the story. But things like the dog being introduced just to be killed, and gore for the sake of gore, and Jack disappearing to a puff of smoke just takes me out of the story. It just makes it not that good of a story as it should be. Number 8. Squidward Suicide. Once again, I like this story. It was actually the second creepypasta I ever read. Now that it's 5 years later, I realize the flaws of the story. For one, the dead children are in there just for shock factor, and once again, gore for the sake of gore. Number 7. Ben Drowned. Now we're heading into the territory of stories that I really do not like. I never really enjoyed Ben Drowned. Probably because I never was a Zelda fan. But I just never found the story that really interesting or scary, and I thought it was overrated and overhyped. And putting it at the top of every creepypasta list is just, it got old in like 2015. Stop doing it, please. Number 6. Dead Bart. While I did enjoy the story as a child, I come to realize now that it is not a good story. Again, it has gore for the sake of nothing else but gore. And in the story it says that Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, went insane during the production of season 1. You can't just go insane and snap back from insanity again. 5. Tails Doll. I used to be scared of this thing. Why? It's a little doll that's like less than a foot tall and has the ability to kill anything it wants. Like, how much sense does that make? The answer is none. Number 4. Sonic.exe. Nope. Number 3. Oh, fine. I'll talk about Sonic EXE. I really hate this story. It's so flawed and just bad, and the writer of the story, JC the Hyena, is such an annoying person. And the reason why it's not in number 1 is because this is not my most hated creepypasta. This is the worst, like, stories. This is a pretty bad story, but there's worse stories in it. Number 3. Clockwork. Your time is up. I really don't like this story. It's just a fan fiction ripoff of Jeff the Killer, which is an already bad story with so many cliches and just ugh. Speaking of which, number 2, Jeff the Killer. Pretty much the most overrated creepypasta like ever, with one of the worst stories. Like, getting burned wouldn't turn your face white and dye your hair black. You would look like damn Freddy Krueger, and Jeff looks like the damn love child of Elle and the Joker. Number 1, Sally/Play With Me. This story is just plain offensive. And I say that because it talks about things like rape and doesn't show any respect to people who have to experience such a terrible thing that shouldn't even exist in the first place. Sorry if I glanced over most of these stories. They're pretty popular, so you probably heard of them. And if you guys want me to read these stories, just tell me in the comments and I will do so. And until next time, I'll see you.